Learn about the gift of today and how you can really make a difference. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on motivational speaking. And we're visiting with Donna Tyson.
Good morning,
Donna.
Good to see you.
Thanks so much for getting in. It's so exciting to finally getting you in. I haven't seen you a few years ago at Pine Lakes International Country Club.
Right.
When you were there speaking to the Coastal Association of Marketing Professionals. And I understand that is one of so many folks you've done consulting work for or have given talks to.
Right. Myrtle Beach has been good to me. The business community has been very supportive, so I'm very appreciative.
You have been in Myrtle how long now, Donna?
Been here part-time for 5 years and full-time for about 1.5 years.
Okay, great. But you've been coming out of the Strand for a heck of a long time.
Yeah, I have, and just fell in love with it. And my father passed, and best friend died of cancer, and just decided I needed a different chapter in my life and moved here to the ocean for the healing of the saltwater. And one of my rituals is to go watch the sunrise every morning. That's a daily ritual for me, and it's just magic here at the beach. And I don't think I could ever leave it now.
You do that every morning when you're
I
not
sure
out somewhere else in the country.
I do. It's my reminder that it's a new day, a new opportunity ahead, and it's powerful.
That is. Donna, you moved here from?
Virginia.
Okay, what part?
Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does Fredericksburg have a claim to fame? Is there something it's well known for?
Well, you know, every shop has this little sign that says George Washington slept here. And so if he slept everywhere that they say he slept, I don't know what.
He really got around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a very historical city, very involved in the Civil War, and it was a great business community. I loved them and raised my children there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was born and raised in the mountains in Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, yeah, so you were a Virginian or I'm
Indeed.
sure at some level still consider yourself a Virginian.
I think I'm a South Carolinian now.
Ah, listen to that. A year here full time, and the Palmetto State's grabbed you in.
I love it. I really do. I love the ocean. I love the people here, and my heart is here now.
You mentioned your children. Are they still here in the area? Are they with you now?
One is with me. It's amazing. They never really go away. I was a single mother from the time they were 7, 6, and 4.
Wow.
And so my daughter is now 25 and is an OBGYN nurse in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and preparing to marry in October.
Oh, big.
And my son is 24, and he is in Daytona, working construction and surfing, followed his girlfriend down there, who's going to college. And my 20-year-old decided to come live with me again when I moved to the beach. And so he works in Surfside and lives with me here.
Well, that's been a good, I'm sure that's good to have him around a good bit.
It is. It's been an interesting chapter. It's
Keeps
always
you young.
nice to have them.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm sure. When someone hears the word motivational speaking, is there some way to encapsulate that before we get into kind of breaking down some different presentations you do?
This is what I do for a living. I've been doing it for 19 years on a full-time basis, and I just love it. And truly, a motivational speaker just tries to get people to remember what's really important in life, to remember the power they have to live above the circumstances, and to create a world that's positive. And that's what I do. In the business setting, I teach customer service skills, communication skills, leadership skills, and dealing with change. And then probably my most popular talk is on work-life balance for those type A personalities like myself who just don't know when to stop.
Well, that's, you know, when we think about that, and of course, in looking at your partial client list, I saw names not only all over America, but virtually all over the world. I mean, it's recognized. And when we think of motivational speakers, who are some equally well-known or world-renowned motivational speakers? Are there?
Well, for me, the people that I've had the most fun sharing the dais with, I spoke with Robert Schuller. We shared a dais on that. Norman Schwarzkopf, Rosita Perez, Willie Jolly. Everybody seems to know, Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and Wayne Dyer. So they all do the same kind of thing, but share it their way.
And y'all are on the road a good bit, Donna.
A lot. And that was a big part of my choosing to move to the beach and downsize and slow my life down. I was on the road 20 days a month.
Wow.
And people think that's real glamorous, but it's not. It's another plane, more peanuts, another hotel, and it really impacts your personal life because you can't do anything that requires consistency. You can't take a class, you can't hold a Sunday school class, you can't do anything that you have to routinely appear at. So it's a price tag.
That would have a big impact on everything. There's a writer for the Myrtle Beach Herald, Rhonda Rich, who does a
Yes,
Dixie
I've met
Divas
Rhonda.
column for us, and amazing to hear her talk about some of the travels, albeit primarily in the Southeast.
Right.
But, and of course, to see some of that partial client list, I think I saw the Central Intelligence Agency, the FBI Academy, the World Bank.
Yeah.
How do these folks find out about you, and then how do you convince them that you're the right one?
Well, I've really taken a different way up the mountain than most speakers take. All of my advertising is on word of mouth, and I have built my business on the concept of raving fans, that when people hear you, if you touch their lives, they are willing to recommend you to other organizations, and have been very successful, stayed booked out for almost a year in advance. And through that kind of contact. And once you're approved with the CIA and FBI and Department of Education and Transportation, your credentials start to speak for themselves.
I think I saw the Mayo Clinic, AT&T, and again, I saw that word partial client list. I thought, how could it be any more? It must have gone on 4 or 5 pages.
That's 19 years worth of speaking.
Yeah,
so.
that's right, 19 years. Yes.
That's right.
That's very exciting. When you think about that opportunity, of course, would you mind sharing a little bit about some? Now, you talked about, I think I saw on your website there was a most requested presentation, or one that's most well known, or
the Life's Balance Wheel is the work-life balance, and it's built on the concept that all of your energy goes into 6 different spokes of a wheel, if you will: career, social, physical, financial, spiritual, and emotional. And that for most of us, we have 1 or 2 of those spokes that take up the majority of our day: career, family, whatever it might be. And that the others don't get our attention until a crisis hits. And then we realize the price tag we've paid. And for many career professionals, which is what I talk to a lot, to be good in your career, you give it your heart and soul, you eat, drink, breathe, sleep it, and that's the price tag you pay for success. You also realize, after you've paid the price, that you've missed many moments with your young children, with your family, with being able to take care of yourself physically, with staying in touch with friends. And so it is an awareness seminar about daily remembering that it is in the balance that there is really power, and that you don't want your tombstone to say, he was the best news anchor, the best talk show host that ever lived, and that's the only thing you ever did of substance. That there's more to life than that. And I teach what I need to learn the most. I think that's the power in my talks, is I don't come in and profess to have all the answers. I say, let me tell you some of the lessons I'm learning in my life, and these are the lessons, and this is what I'm doing to try to get better. And it's amazing because people seem to respond to that and say, you're talking about exactly what I face every day.
It seems like this would talk, just for the normal person thinking about it, it would get a lot into time management. I mean, that
Definitely.
aspect, of course, of career taking up so much of a time during the day, and, of course, sleep taking up a little bit of the rest.
What's that?
Unless folks don't sleep, which some of our viewers probably don't. But, that, and then there are 5 other aspects of that wheel. I mean, there's a heck of a lot. Can some of that interrelate or interweave into the career and maybe a little bit into sleep?
Oh, definitely. And it is about time management. And I think the most profound point of that is, does what you really value in your life and profess to really love in your life, if you look at where you spend your time and energy, does it reflect that? Because many people say, I love the Lord. I'm taking good care of my body. But if you count the amount of time that you spend actually working on that, that's not where you're spending your time and energy. So it's an awareness issue. And the reason I love the concept of the wheel is a wheel is constantly in motion, and you have to rebalance it often. You don't fix it one time. You have to go in and rebalance it again and again. And that's really what life is.
What is your biggest motivation or inspiration, Don? What helps? What's the biggest source of info from you? You mentioned God. Oftentimes folks will talk about God, and I think I saw at some point on your website the gift of today.
Right.
And, of course, oftentimes Scripture talks about living each day as if it's your last, or a day, the power of each day.
Truly, for me, it was a turning point when I realized what a gift each day really is, and how for granted we take that. There's a wonderful book out that was voted one of the 10 most significant books ever written in the history of our society, and it is called Man's Search for Meaning, and it is by Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor. And so if you're having a bad day, this is a really good book to get. You can read it in an hour. But in one moment, this man's life totally changed. People marched into his village and took his family, his home, all his material possessions. They tortured him, humiliated him, abused him for years. And when he was rescued and they talked to him, he talked about what a gift life was. And they said, how can you do this? How can you talk about how good life is when you have seen the vilest that man has to offer? And he said, let me tell you what I've learned. And he said, the world can take away everything I have, but they cannot take my spirit unless I give it to them. And my greatest freedom is my freedom to choose my attitude every single day. Mm-hmm. And so I wear this little golden attitude pin every day of my life. In my seminars, I give them out. And it is my reminder every day, Donna, it's not what happens to you in your life today that's going to make it good or bad. It's how you let it impact your life that it has power. Mm-hmm. And we saw that in our country at 9/11. You know, all of a sudden our innocence was gone. All of a sudden we realized how for granted we had taken our freedom and our safety. And for a little while people were really nice to each other. People held each other up. They said thank you. They pulled together. And we become more and more complacent as the days go by.
What do you, and that aspect of becoming more and more complacent, is there, I guess there's a constant need.
Well, it's like a sponge, and I use this example in my seminars. You know, if I go to the store and buy a brand new sponge and I bring it home and I dip it in a pail of water and use it, if I pull it up, it just oozes whatever it was just filled with. And when anything is new in your life, whether it's a new job, a new car, a new relationship, it's great. It's after it's been there a while that people start to take it for granted. That's why we recycle spouses, because they're new to the next person, you know, and they're excited about it. But on that sponge, if I use it for a little while, it has less to give. And if I keep using that sponge, before long it's going to get dry and empty and cold and brittle and ugly. And it's easy to want to throw it out. Well, I really believe that concept is the same as we are as people. We come in and we start living our life, participating in activities, and we're always going and doing and making things happen. And they can all be really good things. But then all of a sudden we realize we've grown cold, we don't have compassion anymore, we don't have joy. You know, a good day is if nobody tells you off and you don't bounce a check, but it's not joy. And the value of the sponge is that where the story is where it lost its value is because it forgot to refill. That if it would go back on a regular basis and refill, then it would have something to give. And so that's my reminder to everyone is you can't give out what you don't have inside. And in our society, we don't teach the power of stillness. We don't teach the power of daily refilling your heart and your soul with what it is you want to give out. And that's what sunrise is for me. It is a time to refill so that I have something good to give out to other people.
You've got a huge new undertaking, Donna.
Yes,
you and someone else have launched the Redbow Gifts Coffee and Tea. Am I correct? Yeah.
We did.
There'll be an effort there to constantly go back and refill the sponge.
It is.
I mean, to continue to remind yourself of all the daily things that happen in owning and operating a small business.
Well, and I've had my own businesses in the past. I owned a temporary employment service. I started from scratch and turned it into a multi-million-dollar company. I've had a retail shop, a weekly TV show, a weekly radio show. And I thought I was going to slow down when I came to Myrtle Beach. And I saw the super block area, as it was called then, and just fell in love with it, where the fountains and everything are, and said, you know, this could be a little Georgetown in the future with the outdoor cafes. And if I was going to start a business here, that's where I'd want to go. And then a building came open right on the corner, opening into the fountains on 9th Avenue. And so my partner, John Curry, who is the love of my life, and we decided to go into business together and work together. He has a background in the hospitality industry and cooking, and I have a background in personnel and staffing. And we said, let's put it all together. So we opened up an inspirational gift shop and a gourmet coffee shop, and we're putting outdoor tables out. We have a meeting room, and if you'll bear with me, I'd love to tell you why it's called the Red Bow, because I think it is the theme of what I do. When I work with young people, when I do commencement exercises or assemblies, I talk to them about the importance of self-esteem. And one of my favorite stories was of a little girl that didn't have a very positive self-esteem, didn't feel good about herself, but her favorite place was at Grandma's house because that was safe and she felt unconditionally loved. And so Grandma saw what was happening in the little girl's life and became worried about her, and so she called her in one day and took her into the hallway and stood her in front of the mirror in the hallway and took her hair and put it in a ponytail and put a big red bow in the back of her hair and told her how beautiful she looked and how her eyes shined and her skin sparkled, and the little girl gave her a hug and started to walk home. She had her head down and her hands clasped. She remembered how Grandma said she looked so beautiful, and she smiled. And right as she smiled, an older gentleman walked by and saw this little girl with this quirky smile and said, well, hello, honey, have a nice day. And she went, oh, you like my bow? And so she was smiling about him thinking that she was pretty, and another lady passed by and greeted her, and she said, oh, she liked my bow too. This is great. If I could just wear this bow every day, people would think I was pretty, and I would have friends. Life would be good. And all the way home, she smiled and interacted with people and thought the bow was magic. And when she got home, the phone was ringing, and she ran inside and picked up the phone, and it was her grandmother. And she said, honey, you dropped your bow. And she had walked without the bow the whole way, not knowing that she didn't have it on, but she had held her head up and greeted the world with a smile. So when you come into our shop, and we're open from 6 in the morning until 8 at night during the week, and 8 in the morning until 6 on Saturdays, you can come in, and any gift you purchase, all the gifts are inspirational, things to make you hold your head up, and they're from $5 to $100. And when you buy the gift, and I bought you pastries today, because I thought you might need a sugar pick-me-up in the middle of the morning, we wrap your gift in a white bag with red crepe paper tied with a red bow, and the tag says, remember to hold your head up and greet the world with a smile. Have a Red Bow Day.
That's fantastic.
That's the Red Bow. And all the people that work there are people that believe in that vision, that we can make a difference instead of just making a living. And I promise you, the people that come in will do everything in our power to make sure you smile when you leave.
And you and John have done a great job teaching folks how to tie bows.
We can tie.
Absolutely. I have to bring my daughter in to learn how to tie her shoes. That's right.
Fun. It's a great challenge, and it's been interesting watching the community perception of it. You know, the park is there, and there are homeless there, and people say, why are you risking this venture in an undeveloped area? But I really believe that the downtown revitalization effort is going to be successful, and I believe it will happen one business person at a time, taking their time and energy and money and investing now to plant a seed so that that area will become a vibrant hub of the city.
Donna, as you know, the bulk of my viewers are in the PD and in southeastern North Carolina. The simple landmarks, where you talk about the fountains, you talk about 9th Avenue. One of the big simple landmarks is it's right across the street from the pavilion.
It is. We're across 17.
Right, across Kings Highway, or 17 business, right across from the center of the pavilion virtually.
And we have our own coffees and teas. We went to a roaster and had our own coffees blended. We have and we have smoothies and all kinds of wonderful pastries that Bake and Cake, a local Austrian baker, makes for us, and fresh flowers, and it's just a place of peace and joy. We're so excited.
I'm sure you've got to be. That's a great feeling, of course, for you and John to team up together and do this. Both of you all with your superlative backgrounds, both in personnel as well as in hospitality. I think you've also been doing quite a bit of hospitality training recently, haven't you?
I wrote and I'm teaching all of the certification classes for the Hospitality Association for their customer service training and their leadership training. We put 182 people through in the past year.
Wow.
Again, in the concept to make a difference, not just a living. And if you're going to be in your job the majority of the time of your waking hours, to have fun and to enjoy it and to have joy again. And it's been incredibly successful. We're now working with the Chamber of Commerce and working with their staff, and have worked with Broadway at the Beach and Ocean Lakes and Lakewood, and people have been very, very good to us.
Absolutely. And of course, to find that within your, now a lot of your travels, you're on the road quite a bit well outside of South Carolina,
Definitely.
albeit there's still quite a bit of opportunity, both within our viewing area or down in the low country.
Sure.
Oh.
But I've staffed the Red Bow with really good people. Sherry Lunsford is working the gift portion, and John's there in the coffee section, and they're going to carry on whenever I'm on the road.
Right.
And we have a meeting room in the back, and I'll be doing sessions on work-life balance and customer service and communication for people.
Now, will there be info at drtyson.com at your website about the Red Bow?
There will be. They'll be interchangeable.
Right. Great. How exciting. Well, that's a great opportunity for folks to learn. And as you said, the important thing is remembering that a little background there of the Red Bow itself.
It is. And just how easy it is that people forget that they have the power to create good things in their life. If I have a second, I'll tell you one of the most powerful inspirational stories that happened to me in changing my life and view. And one of my best friends came down with cancer for the second time, and they told her there was nothing they could do about it. She fought it really hard, and in the last days became very, very angry that the cancer was winning and that she was going to have to, leave all of her family and friends. And I couldn't fix it. And I am a type A driven person, and I am a fixer. The people I love, I want to fix their problems and help them, and I could not fix it. And I didn't know how to handle that. I know death is a, necessary part of the life experience, but when it's somebody you love, like your father or your best friend, it's hard to let go. And so I realized that all I had to give her were moments of light, that I couldn't fix the illness, but that any moments we shared, I could make sure that they were happy. So I bought a color book and crayons, took them to the hospital, and she had been diagnosed she wouldn't live through the week, and walked in and said, I want to color. And she looked at me and said, you are crazy. I am dying of cancer, and you are bringing in a color book and crayons. I haven't colored since I was 4 years old. And I said, well, maybe that's part of the problem. You've been so caught up in work and pushing that maybe we haven't taken enough time to just enjoy. And I crawled up in the hospital bed with her, and we colored for hours and hung them all over the wall. When I came back 2 days later, they told me that Barbara wouldn't make it another 24 hours. And she said, I have a gift for you. And she pulled out a picture that she had colored in the middle of the night, and she had taken the boldest colors in the box and scribbled them across the page and signed it. And she said, Donna, all my life I've colored inside the lines somebody else drew. And for the first time in my life, I've colored my page my way. And it feels great. And I will never forget that moment, because she was a very, very successful businesswoman, and yet always had colored inside the lines of what everybody else expected her to be. And so in our shop, we have these little colored pencils, and we just put a tag on them that says, remember, you can color outside the lines.
Wow, Donna, that's powerful.
It is.
That is.
It was a gift.
That is. That really is. We've got about 3 minutes. It's tough to follow on that. I'm kind of stunned. We talked a second ago about some of the motivations for you. How about, and that's a great inspirational story. Are there inspirations that, would you get a little inspiration out of everything? Is that, do you try to cull a little something special from virtually everything during the day? I
do. There's a saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher always appears. And the longer I live, the more I know that's true. And I just don't believe that people come and go in your life by accident. I think they're there for a reason, and that there's always something to learn. And the ocean now is my greatest teacher about the building of energy and the letting go and accepting the changing tides.
Speaking of the ocean, I saw one of your presentation topics was riding the crest.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's very popular
it is a
around
great
the country. And of course, it's great to be able to take in the ocean virtually every morning,
It is.
particularly when you're in town.
There's a saying that says, saltwater heals, whether through sweat, tears, or the sea. And we have an incredible resource here. I challenge anybody feeling a little low, go to the ocean at pre-dawn, about 5:45, and watch the sun rise, and it will put things in perspective.
If you weren't currently a motivational speaker, Donna, or hadn't just opened the Red Bow gifts, coffee and teas and coffees with John, what do you think you'd be doing?
I think I would be here. I think this is destiny. I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. This is my gift. And I think I would somehow have found my way to doing the same thing.
The accomplishment over the past year that you're most proud is probably be the launching of the Red Bow, or would it be something else?
Well, I think it has been giving myself permission to step back from the rat race and to take time to say, I'm tired, I'm not a superwoman, and I need to refill my soul and spirit now. And that was hard for me, to just slow my life down and resign from the different boards and committees and say, it's time for me to refill my sponge. And now I'm ready to give back out, and that's what the Red Bow and the speaking is.
If someone visited your website, they would see at the bottom of the front page there your motto, Donna. What motto is that you live by?
Says you really can make a difference, and the first place to start is with you.
That's special. Thanks so much for being
Thank
with us
you.
this morning.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Donna Tyson coming up next. Her unique style has been described as a cross between a preacher, a politician, and a comedian. If you've sat here the last 30 minutes, you'd see just why. If you're visiting the Strand, or if you live here locally, pop by the Red Bow Gifts, Coffee, and Teas. Check out Donna, have a chance to meet her in person, see someone tie a bow, or of course you can visit them online at drtyson.com.